Hello my friends and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we have a ton of Lamborghini coverage, daily driven exotics news, Gumball rally updates.
All right buddy, let's roll. The bird has landed.
A crashed Aventador rebuild, Stradman selling one of his cars, and someone is ordering a brand new car. Links will be in the description, so let's get right into it. This week, DDE set out to Gumball and posted a travel vlog, and I've taken international flights, but I was blown away with the style these guys are traveling in. The plane seats are huge, very upscale, even for short 2-hour flights, and they also have a VIP arrival that allows them to skip lines and includes a driver, a guide, and a Maybach van. After watching this, I'm starting to see where some of the cost to do Gumball comes in. Also, the Singapore airport is incredibly impressive and looks like something you would see in a casino in Vegas with all the tech, colors, and features such as LED screened ceilings and actual aquarium floors. The travel vlog closes with the boys rendezvousing with Mr. JWW and Nico Leonard, and that's just the beginning. They posted another video on the main channel saying that they lost Nico, hangover style. So what did they do? Naturally, they went to the hotel desk, got a spare key to Nico's room, which is something that would not be allowed in any other place, and they used this key to crash his room to find him sleeping. Damon said on the earlier video that he was going to have to pack extremely light to travel for Gumball, and due to packing light, they have to go out suit shopping for the black tie event, needing a tux or something similar in extremely short notice of a day or two. They visit several tailors before possibly locating a tailor that can help, but that's not all. They then have to go to Ferrari Vietnam for Nico, whose 812 GTS is currently not running. Now, Nico has had a lot of problems with this car from the start, so the decision to take it is questionable at best. There's much more to that story in this video, so we'll come back to Nico in a minute, but the crew get to the warehouse and walk around checking out the cars, showing many of the exceptional cars on the rally. It takes Damon and Dave a while to get to their SVJ, and unfortunately, they leave us with a to be continued before we can see if the car actually starts after 6 months of not being driven during shipping, customs, and storage. However, hopping over to Nico's Uncut channel, we do in fact see the SVJ start.
The SVJ!
As for Nico, the reality of his situation is that he chose to bring his 812 GTS, which is a car that is special to him, but apparently has never been that reliable. Nico decided to take it anyway, which I find incredibly risky, so Ferrari Vietnam sent 2 technicians out to the warehouse to fix his 812, and they assure him that they've fixed the electrical issues, checked all the fluids, and the car is ready to go. Of course, you can see where this is going. He gets in and immediately gets a low tire pressure warning, so that's not off to a great start. However, the techs say the usual reset and drive it a few miles, and that's not unusual. I'm sure many of us have heard similar instructions, and usually after a mile or so, the calibration finishes and the light goes off. That does not happen in this video, but the 812 is not on the road long before the warning chimes start, initially with low tire pressure, but unfortunately for Nico, this is only the beginning of the problems with this car. After a bit of stop and go driving, the car begins to run very hot, and you can see Nico starting to get actually stressed. Now, when I saw the Gumball announcement that he would be taking a modern Ferrari, I figured things would be okay, but apparently he has had issues with this car from the very beginning. However, he goes into a story that James told him to bring a special car that he will never sell, and since his son's name is in the car, he'll never sell this one, but I still can't help but feel he brought the wrong car on the rally. Later in the video, the license plate even falls off. The car also begins to overheat and ultimately breaks down entirely when he arrives at the grid. He gets the dreaded Christmas tree of warning lights, the car won't start, and he has to practically beg the stewards to hurry up and park the car. I don't see this car coming anywhere close to the finish line of this rally. There are just way too many problems with it and no time or place to fix it. If you remember last year with Matt Armstrong's Murcielago, I think we're in for a similar run for Nico, and I hate that for him because he seems like such a genuine guy trying to make a memory with a car that is special to him. That said, for a bucket list dream rally, I think you really need to pick a car that can finish, and if that means driving a car extra long distances without it having issues in order to properly shake it down and make sure it's reliable, that's what you have to do. If your special car is unreliable, you take something else. There is a reason there are so many Uruses on the rally. Mr. James W. Walker, aka JWW, also released a Gumball vlog, and it's an interesting look at the administrative side of Gumball as he jumps back and forth between hanging out with the homies and press events supporting the Gumball founder and his brother-in-law, Max Cooper. I am sure we are in for multiple weeks of craziness during Gumball, so I can't wait to watch these videos. Jumping back in time to Compton, earlier in the week, DDE released a video on Damon's wide-body Lamborghini Murcielago GT1. They talk about the planning, sourcing the rare parts, the construction of this project, and there are some very interesting facets, including reskinning the factory panels with the GT1 panels so they don't have to reinvent the mounting tabs. The car is now 6 inches wider overall, and it is going to be super aggressive. But I do wonder if Damon is going to change the wheels because the extra width allows him to run a much more aggressive offset, and currently the wheels need spacers to have a nice fitment. I think the car was almost perfect before the wide body, and it is going to be insane when done. But head over, check out the video, and let me know if you would have risked changing the car to this degree. With DDE doing daily uploads, I have even more stuff to talk about. So a few days ago, they released a video revealing Damon's new 2024 Lamborghini V12, and of course, as it is new and a V12, it is none other than the Revuelto. This car is beautiful in Viola Parsife, and it appears to be the same spec that Stradman had an allocation for. You may recall that James canceled that allocation because Lamborghini decided to limit the available color and option combinations for the initial production run, presumably in the interest of avoiding delays, as James couldn't configure the car exactly the way he wanted, and it would have arrived in a similar configuration to everyone else. Because of this, he decided to back out and release his allocation. Damon, on the other hand, did not have an allocation, but pulled strings and called in favors to multiple friends and business contacts, and he leveraged those relationships to get this car, and in the process jumped several people in line that pre-ordered and still have not gotten their cars. Let me know how you feel about that. I'm interested to hear your thoughts. DDE is also adding even more cars to their fleet and dropped a video where they took Damon's daughter Mia and the newest contributor to the channel, Jason from PFS, car shopping to buy 2 supercars. Now, if you watched DDE during Car Week, you'll recognize Jason as the driver of Dave's gold Squadra Corsa during Car Week. And of course, DDE has visited his shop numerous times as Jason has done the wrap work for several of the liveries on their cars. For Mia's part, she is still looking at Porsches and has found a contender in this video, although hopefully she doesn't crash this one the same way that she did a few years ago.
So sorry. You okay? I'm so sorry. It's okay.
Both Mia's car and Jason's car have to be under a budget, so let me know if you prefer the Aston or the P car, or if you think they should switch it up entirely and go with something else. Outside of adding cars and Gumball, another ongoing story for DDE is that their headquarters, The Block, is truly in danger of being shut down. Their HQ is located in an industrial park that is shared with other businesses, and apparently one business owner has complained to the city about activity related to the block party traffic, so the inspector came out with a sheriff and inspected the HQ.
Personally, so let me ask this real quick. Why is the sheriff here? Huh? This is a city bylaw issue. Why would sheriffs involved?
Oh. The inspector asked a ton of questions about the purpose of the facility as well as the type of business they conducted. I don't want to over-dramatize the situation, but Damon explains several times that they are just doing the same thing that Hoonigan was doing, but Hoonigan didn't necessarily have permission to do those things, and the inspector is setting the expectation that his recommendations will be based on policy and city codes. Hoonigan also declared bankruptcy this week, and that could add another layer of complexity should DDE decide that the activity they were told was allowed was misrepresented. Also in Lamborghini YouTube news, Freddie, aka Tavarish, seems ready to spec his own Lamborghini, revealing that he bought a crashed and stripped and possibly ex-rental Aventador for the price of a Toyota Camry. It appears this car was bought with engine issues on top of the bent chassis, missing bodywork, and the car came to his channel courtesy of a mechanics lien. If you don't know what that is, a mechanics lien is what happens when a customer drops off a car at a shop to be worked on and never picks it up, effectively abandoning it. In Florida, it looks like the time limits around this are not terribly drawn out, so hopefully this car hasn't been sitting too long. He does start it, and I thought the engine sounded okay, but there are many unknowns considering that it was reported to have an engine problem from the shop that he bought it from. Freddie also jokes that this is the cheapest Aventador in the world, that they will turn into the most expensive Aventador in the world, and based on the current condition of this car, I think he's not far from the truth. Matt Armstrong came by and dropped a note in the comments that he's flying over for the 24-hour rebuild, to which Freddie replied, "Clock is ticking." I know it is hard to believe, but we have yet another Lambo from another YouTuber. Mark McCann released a video where he configures a new Lamborghini Temerario specifically geared toward resale in the future. He gives the reason for this as he plans to upgrade it when the variants arrive, so he's trying to order the car in a spec that is geared towards maximum resale value, specifically choosing some options that will likely be deemed required to most buyers on the used market and skipping indulgences such as carbon interior and carbon wheels.
Passenger display.
Front nose lift.
Yeah, and cup holders.
So that's $7,000.
If you don't recognize the name, this is the model that replaced the Huracan. Now, he configures this car with some help from a friend since according to Mark, Lamborghini has now banned filming the configuration process. If you like to watch people choose options that are sky high in price, head over to Mark's channel and check that out. Now that we have covered the buying, let's jump back over to Stradman, where he has finally sold one of his vintage Lamborghinis. If you're not aware, he has 4 for sale, a white Countach, 2 LMs in white and black, and a pink Espada. He's selling at least some of these to finish work on his house, and the car that he sold was the non-running black LM to another enthusiast that already owns an LM. James seems to be leaning into house-related content lately, but do you think it's worth it to sell a car out of his fleet for something like sheetrock, crown molding, or landscaping? Since this has been an all Lamborghini episode, I'm wondering if I should consider a Lamborghini at some point in the future. Let me know if you would like to see that featured on the channel, as well as which specific model you'd like to see most. That's about all I have for you today. If you have any thoughts on any of these videos, I would love to discuss it with you, so please leave a comment. I try to read and respond to as many as possible. This week, the delay between videos is because I am working on new original content, including reviews of my current fleet and how I evaluate cars and trucks that I buy. So if you want to see that, remember to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.